So I come from a family of serving personnel. I have two brothers that are in the Royal Marines, and both my parents were in the Navy. So for me, it's something I've been exposed to ever since I was a child. It's something that an occasion that we've marked every year. And I think for me, it's really an opportunity to reflect on the sacrifices that those who served in the Great Wars and the wars since made so that we could have our everyday freedoms, the ones that we often, I think, take for granted. And it's an opportunity each year for us to look back at the atrocities of the 20th and 21st centuries and think about how we, as individuals, a service and as a country, can make sure they don't happen again.
My dad, he was in the Falklands War on HMS Antelope, and that was one of the ships that got hit. Fortunately, when it did get hit, the missile didn't explode straight away, which actually gave people time to get off. Fortunately, my dad was one of those. If it hadn't, and if it had gone off when it was meant to, then obviously I wouldn't have my dad, as I do now. So I'm very grateful for that.
Remembrance to me means an opportunity to reflect on the past, the sacrifices that people have made, both military and civilian, during times of conflict. And personally, my granddad was a Japanese POW, and it's a particularly poignant time as well.
I've been very lucky in my family. We haven't been that badly affected by wars, but my grandfather's brother was a pilot in the Second World War, and he was killed in a training accident. So obviously it's remembering those as well that have been killed, not just in the line of duty, but also preparing and training to go and take over those roles.
Obviously I'll be thinking of my granddad and everything he went through. He didn't really talk about it much because of when the war was going on. He was quite young, so he saw a lot of things and fought at such a young age. So I think about all of his experiences and what he must have gone through. Friends that he must have lost. Obviously, my dad as well, and who he'd lost. My brother, he's been in the Iraq and Afghanistan. His stories about hearing bullets whistle past his ear. So reflecting on all that action that they've seen and come through, and all the friends they've lost, I'll be thinking about that.
It's important to bring to mind how we've got into those situations and hopefully try and learn from the past and not make the same mistakes again. Difficult, I know, given different political climates, but hopefully remembering not only shows a better way ahead and encourages us to live better, but also to reflect and try and bring some light into a dark world at times.
So remembrance means to me, it's taking the time to actually think and respect all those that have fought for us in the country that we live in today. Because without them, well, we wouldn't have what we have, freedom of speech, the lives we have. My granddad was in the war, my dad was in the Falklands, and my brother has served over in Iraq and Afghanistan. So we have a strong military tie, and I think it's important that we sit and think about everyone who's given the ultimate sacrifice to enable us to do what we want to do. And think of the families as well, the ones that have got left behind.
We're very lucky because we live in a time of relative peace. Since we've withdrawn from Iraq and Afghanistan, we haven't had boots on the ground in the traditional sense for a couple of years. So I think it's important for us, though, to not forget that there are men and women who've put their lives on the line and who've lost their lives so that we can enjoy this relatively peaceful time.